Ever since Jacob was 13 years old, he has been trying to talk to the devil. He hoped that Satan could grant him all of the delightful treats in life that so many others had denied him. Jacob is 19 now, and his outlook hasn't changed much, but his methods have. Sarah is 15 and tied to Jacob's basement chair. She prays to ask God to protect her from Jacob and his intentions. God has never been welcome in Jacob's basement. Jacob picks up a knife and pierces Sarah's chest. Sarah lets out a cry and begs for his mercy. Mercy isn't something Jacob has much of a talent for. He slices her throat next, just enough to allow her to strangle on her own blood. He breathes in deeply, then holds it. He closes his eyes and tilts his head to the side, listening in the darkness for his cold voice. No answer. Jacob lets his breath escape slowly. He tries the spirit box next, an antique Zenith radio that he altered to rapidly scan through channels. As it scans, it brings forth faintly audible static that could be mistaken for murmurs and whispers, but nothing powerful enough to be the true voice of evil. The static is interrupted by a guttural death rattle. Sarah becomes the next wasted life in Jacob's pursuit for the gates of hell. Why doesn't he answer? Was she not pure? Jacob takes off his gloves and discards them. He rubs his chin and sighs. Tomorrow he would need to find a new opportunity. He must. Someone would surely become suspicious of him before long. He couldn't afford to dally. No need to dispose of the body. Straight to sleep. The next morning, Jacob awakes feeling rejuvenated. He knows today will be the day that he will finally find the catalyst with which he needs to experience all of the world's forbidden fruit. Before searching for long, he sees her. She has yellow hair which shines in the sun like liquid gold, and curled lips that mask a natural sensuality. She is the most alluring woman Jacob has ever seen. For a moment, he loses sight of his prize, and thinks that no matter of unholy excess could possibly help to balance the mysterious riches that she might hold inside. He is stricken with a furious desire. If only he can know her, her breast would surely quench his thirst for blood. He glances in her direction, and she returns a seductive yet gentle smile. Like the point of a blade pressed against his veins, he feels vulnerability and jubilation intertwined. Could a demon ever hope to win the love of an angel? Jacob is filled with surprise as she makes the first move. She walks over to him and touches his shoulder.
I'm new here and I'm thirsty. Can you buy me a drink?
He can't muster an answer. Instead, he motions to lead her to his car. She happily enters. No tricks, no bondage, free of will. For a moment, he imagines her squealing under the edge of his knife, but he doesn't entertain the thought for long. He wants more than momentary pleasure. Perhaps the devil wasn't the only one that could answer his prayer. He asks her name.
Ariel.
Beautiful. It suits her. Jacob doesn't take Ariel to his basement. Not yet. He brings her out to a local dive and buys her a drink. Then 2. Then 3. She orders straight liquor and holds it well. Jacob orders the same and his head begins to spin. Too far down the drunken rabbit hole to think clearly, Jacob opens up and confides in Ariel. She doesn't bat an eye when Jacob talks of torture and his dark messiah. She beckons him closer and whispers in his ear, a secret between two fiends. Jacob, trembling, pulls a shot of whiskey to his mouth and feels the warmth creep down his throat, while Ariel licks the taste from his lips. Ever unable to control his urges, he invites her home. With a mad and excited look in her eyes, Ariel asks him if he might show her where he conducts his unholy experiments. A fair bit soberer than he was before, he is reluctant to agree. Sarah's lifeless body was still tied to the chair in the basement. He knows he will not be able to let Ariel come back upstairs if he shows her. The night would end far more abruptly and less satisfactorily than he had initially hoped. Perhaps he could still find pleasure in an execution. Hesitating, he concedes and opens the door. then beckons for Ariel to lead the way. She gladly does so, and Jacob braces for the worst. Instead, when Sarah's bloodied corpse comes into view, Ariel smirks and lets out a coy chuckle. Jacob is taken aback. His bloodlust transforms into terror. Who did he invite into his home? Surely, if she can surprise him with her hellish interests, she must be something far worse than he. As if reading his thoughts, her smile grows wider.
Do you not have a bed down here?
She says.
Wouldn't it be wonderfully exhilarating to fuck in front of an audience? Perhaps your devil would find it amusing.
His mouth grows parched and his throat scratches as he tries to ask, "Who are you?" Suddenly paralyzed, he sinks down onto the concrete floor. Even without restraints, he knows he cannot move. Ariel's voice switches in tone to a shrill rattle.
I am he, Jacob. You seek to control me by bargaining your soul at the sacrifice of young blood. You will not. I am here to take yours from you.
The vision fades from Jacob's eyes, and the world grows cold. Hey guys and ladies, thanks for watching. If you want me to tell your... No. Send your story or creepypasta to the email in the description. Go check out some shirts in the description. I got my Patreon going, and that's down there too. So if you like what I do and you want to kick me something, I'd appreciate it. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Corey Rhino. And be good to animals, even people. See ya.
Yo, snämar, björksbus, hörsh.
Since this video was about the devil, and I'm the Devil's Interval, I wanted to talk about the devil. And first, you should know that I don't believe any of this shit. I don't need the boogeyman. I don't need... Like, when I do something bad, I did it. And when I do something good, I did it. I don't need to have a scapegoat. So anyway, as long as we're clear with that I don't believe any of this, whatever. And if you do, good for you. I got several people I love that are all wrapped up in all this shit. But what did the devil ever do that was so bad? You know? Besides stand up to a tyrant. And, I mean, they want to make the devil the ultimate bad guy, the ultimate evil. Well, God drowned the whole planet because of his mistake. So I don't know of one thing that the devil ever did. Kind of seems like a decent guy. I mean, he doesn't have a bad word to say about anyone. And on the other hand, you got this book slandering him constantly. and he's the bigger man. He won't even respond. And the other thing with this whole story is, I know they say that it's going to happen. I mean, it's been the end of days for 2,000 years, but I mean, it's always, the end is always now, right? But anyway, let's say, because that's what they'll say when I say this, is that, well, he is going to. Well, that's real comforting. But I'm saying God either isn't powerful enough to destroy the devil, or he is and they're just business partners. So either God can't destroy the devil, or he can but doesn't want to, because they're in business together. They need each other. Do you know what I mean? Good needs evil, and light needs dark. So anyway, it's all nonsense to me, but of course I'm not putting anyone down. I want everyone to be happy with whatever it is, as long as you're not hurting people. So, I guess that's it.